Hello everyone, welcome along to the final time this week for Betting Weekly Game Bet Match. It's your number one tennis betting podcast and YouTube show brought to you in association with Bet Rivers. This is our final podcast before the start of the US Open. Lots of content coming your way, so make sure you hit that subscribe button. We're doing a live show on Thursday with the draw, looking at the first round matches and the outright markets on the WTA side and also the ATP Tour side with Rory and Sean. But we need you to get involved. So make sure you hit that subscribe button, very important, and ring that bell to be notified of every time any bit of content drops here on the Betting Weekly Studios. Good afternoon, Sean. How are you, mate? Looking forward to this one, I suppose, but obviously next week's the bigger picture.
Yeah, I mean, Winston-Salem it's a tricky test, isn't it? I said at the start of the week, you do get some peculiar results here, and you are kind of betting on who you think is going to be, all right on the day, whether they're, fit enough or whatever. That didn't unfortunately happen with Bellucci yesterday. He clearly didn't want to carry on. I said he might want to carry on this run of form that he had, but clearly he didn't. So that's a bit of a problem. But yeah, I mean, obviously US Open just a little bit round the corner now. But it feels like it's already started, doesn't it? Because they're doing this mixed doubles thing, which is kind of on the TV at the minute. I saw a little bit of that yesterday. They've extended the Grand Slams, haven't they, by basically almost a week, just so that they can do this mixed doubles thing and all the rest of it. So yeah, it all feels a bit disjointed at the minute. I'm not used to seeing the US Open start on like the Tuesday of the previous week. It's a bit strange, but yeah, all good. Apart from the fact that I've just had to chase a wasp out of this out of this room. I'm having this outbuilding painted today, so all the windows and doors are open, and a big wasp just came in. So I don't want to get stung during the show. So yeah. Up and down.
Well, we'll move on. We will move on. Make sure he doesn't get stung on the show. And hopefully that we can cash some tickets as well before the US Open. We've got a few matches to go through here in Winston-Salem. And I suppose the big thing is obviously the conditions here this week, the weather, these are kind of things, so many retirements, so many draws. And we said throughout the theme for the last 3 weeks on the North American Tour. We've got a match here that really, I think the conditions are going to play a big part on it as well. Now, obviously, before we go into the matches, we've got to say that, again, with this scheduling, all the matches for the third round, the last 16, are today. So we've got 8 matches all the way through with Bet Rivers. Head across to the Bet Rivers website, download the app. There will be all the matches there with all their usual markets. So there are 38 different markets, whatever they may be. But they're all today. So these matches we are going to discuss now are the later matches. So it gives you a bit of opportunity, whatever time this podcast drops, to make sure you can get on these bets. So every single match today is today. So very important to make that note and get across if you like anything that myself or Sean has to say on this video. Okay, so the first match, I think it's very important this one, is in terms of conditions and weather forecast. Before we go into it, what are the conditions of the weather forecast, Sean?
Yeah, we still haven't got any stats through for this tournament. I doubt they'll come through until probably the end of the week, but you can see from watching it, it's not a particularly quick court. It's a medium pace court at best, I would say, which is kind of what I've said in previous shows. It's not the quickest, it's not the slowest, it's kind of average. As far as the weather's concerned, it's going to be about 28, 29 most of today. That's in the shade. Obviously, it'll be slightly warmer with the humidity and down there on the court. So pretty warm, not much wind either, so the players won't get much respite from the heat. But on the other side of things, you could say that the guys that tend to go for their shots will appreciate there not being any wind. So yeah, those are the conditions. I've looked at the trends actually for round 3, because I said at the start of the week this tournament is peculiar in the sense that more underdog winners tend to happen later in the week than earlier. That's the complete opposite of most tournaments. It's not unusual for a tournament played the week before a major, but round 3 averages 35% underdog winners, which is probably one of the lowest of the rounds in Winston-Salem. The quarterfinals averages 45% underdog winners. The semi-finals, 62% underdog winners. And the final 55%. That's over the last 9 editions. So as the week goes on and players feel like they've had enough, a couple of matches, 2-3 matches under their belt, they want to head over to New York, you do get more surprises. So in a sense, it's slightly a shame we're not doing the show later in the week, because there's more underdog winners that do occur then.
Yeah, if you want to follow any content that we have over in New York, you can do on our socials at Because We Win on Instagram and here on Twitter as well. Okay, let's move on to the match we're going to speak about. Giovanni and Mpetshi Perricard, obviously a huge server. I don't believe the conditions will actually suit the Frenchman. Alexandre and Muller is virtually a picking match, actually. Mpetshi Perricard is a marginal favourite, -121, and Alexandre and Muller is -103. They both come through second round matches, in long matches as well. They went deep into the final set. Spread here is 1.5, but it's slightly irrelevant. But the one thing is irrelevant is the total games here, 24.5. These two have never met each other before, but they have literally they're neck to neck in the rankings. 38 Alexandre Muller and 39 Mpetshi Perricard. So they are very, very close in the rankings, very close in the betting. Looks a very, very difficult one to find a winner in it, but I don't know where you're going to come on this one. I'm not quite sure, but I'm guessing. You said it's not as quick as you expected. I think Alexandre Muller might be your way to go.
Yeah, the problem we've got at the minute, the last couple of shows, is that the prices are now moving because these matches are so close now. Normally we have a day and the prices don't tend to move, do they, until on the day generally. These are moving all over the place. Now, Muller was bigger than this earlier, which I thought was excellent value. It's still a bit of value as at the price he is now, but not quite as much as it was before. Yeah, definitely Muller for me here. I mean, both had tough opening matches, as you said. They just about came through, but Mpetshi Perricard was the one that really got away with it, as he so often does, just with his serve in tight matches. He just goes for it, and sometimes that's enough. He only won 45% on his second serve against Pedro Martinez. Martinez won 70% on his second serve, so it was no contest from the back of the court. Martinez was by far the better player. And Martinez will feel like it's a match he should have won. You know, the service points won and return points won totals 105-95 in favour of Martinez, and Mpetshi stole it, basically. And Mpetshi, again, only winning 27% of return points. It's nowhere near enough. He's very, very much relying on that first serve to get him through his matches. Muller had to do it the hard way as well, but was, unlike Mpetshi, he was fully deserving of his win against Darwin Blanche. Service points won and return points won totals 110-90 in favour of Muller. So they were both tight matches, but you feel like the Mpetshi one probably should have gone the other way, and the Muller one went the right way. If you look at their stats, main level and outdoor hard this season, Mpetshi Perricard 43% win rate and a service points won and return points won total of 97.5. Pretty mediocre at best. Muller 53% win rate and his total is 98.2. So he's the one with the better outdoor hard stats, the better win rate this season on this surface. And, it's the same old problem for Mpetshi. He's winning 27% of return points on outdoor hard at main level this season, which is exactly the same mark as he got in the Martinez match. So that's his baseline of return points. And he's only breaking serve 7% of the time. So his opponents are holding 93% against him. His return game is dreadful. These are worse numbers than Isner used to produce and some of the other big servers. So ultimately, if he has one bad service game, it's pretty much game over for Mpetshi Perricard. He's relying far too much on tie breaks. And you're not going to win. You're going to get times when you do have a week. I think Basel springs to mind where he wins a lot of tie breaks. But in these conditions, it's a little trickier outdoor hard. So Muller here for me was plus 116 when I wrote this. Now he's minus 103. I think the money's been coming for him, and I can see why, because there's no value in that minus 121. That's for sure.
One thing I've noticed, the money has been talking this week in Winston-Salem. We saw the big move last day for Yichika Tabu against Tsitsipas. Whenever there's been a market move, it's usually come quite good. Yeah. And I think you have to respect the market. So the market is moving for Alexandre Muller. It's not an official pick now because we might miss.
It's still official.
We're going to go official.
I still think it's valid. Anything around about evens, I think, is still pretty decent. Obviously, it's not as good as it would have been if we'd recorded the show earlier or the matches were later. But it is what it is at the minute.
Okay, so first official pick, Alexandre Muller to beat Mpetshi Perricard. Our second match. I like the look of this match. Gabriel Diallo, a player that has been, another player that's had a brilliant season this year, breakthrough year, but needs it quick. Hamad Medjedovic probably needs it quick as well, but I would say that he would probably be a better player if it was a little bit slower. Diallo is minus 136. Hamad Medjedovic is plus 110. Spread again, 1.5 total. A little bit lower here at 22.5. I don't really understand that number because I think this one could be a long one as well. Loads of different marks there. Spread, set betting, total set as well.
I think it's the trends.
These two haven't.
Sorry, mate. Carry on. I just think it's the trends. It does trend to be unders, Winston-Salem, because a lot of people just go, I've lost the first set. That's me done. I'm off to New York. I think that's the only reason I could think of. Sorry to interrupt you there.
Yeah,
mate.
especially at this stage, of the tournament as well. When we get to the latter stages, as you said, the underdogs will win and people might jack it off a little bit. And also, they have met once before in 2025 in Barcelona this year in a qualifying round on the clay in Barcelona. And it was a win for Medjedovic, 6-4, 6-4. So that gives you the sort of reasoning why he might like it a little bit slower. And that was obviously a little bit slower than what they're going to play on today. Have a look at the line there. I say Diallo minus 136. I think he needs it quick here. What do you think of this one? I mean, money coming from Medjedovic. And again, I think you've got to respect the money.
Yeah, I'm not surprised that the money is coming from Medjedovic. I don't see any value in that price on Diallo, even less so than the price that he was earlier on. He's eased a bit now. I mean, he's had a tricky hard court summer so far, Diallo. He's not faced the easiest opposition. He's lost to Shelton, Fritz, Sinner. So he's got excuses for not playing particularly well this hard court summer. Well, not having the results, should I say, this hard court summer so far, because he has faced some tough ones. Then he got a walkover from Báez already in his opening match here. So he hasn't actually played at all yet in Winston-Salem, and he hasn't really found his rhythm yet on hard courts because he's been winning his opening match. Then he's been getting a top 5, top 10 player in his second round, or his second match. So he's not in the hard court rhythm yet, basically. The issue is I'm also very unsure about Medjedovic in this sort of hot and sticky and humid conditions, as I've mentioned before. If this goes the distance, I would certainly be questioning Medjedovic's fitness, the stamina. He does have a problem there for sure. I mean, looking at the way they play, these two, you would kind of expect it to be a serve-dominated clash, but I wouldn't bet tie breaks or set one overs here for a couple of reasons. One, as I've said, it's a little bit too slow for that, and the trends suggest that you don't get that many tie breaks or set one overs here. And the other thing is that Diallo's stats don't suggest that either on hard at the minute. Even though we know the type of player he is, big serve, big forehand, but he hasn't been producing the stats that would suggest tie breaks. I certainly couldn't bet Diallo on the money line on his hard court form. If you look at this season on outdoor hard at main level, Diallo 40% win rate, service points won and return points won, total of 97. You would expect better from him. Medjedovic much better, 71% win rate and a total of 102. So far better stats on outdoor hard this season for Medjedovic. And as I mentioned, Diallo only holds serve 79.8% of the time on hard courts this year, and only plays 0.22 tie breaks per set. So betting the tie breaks is not something I'd be particularly keen on doing here. I would probably take Medjedovic on the stats. The caveat with those outdoor hard stats for me is the fact that Diallo kind of emerged really sort of in the latter stages of or middle of the clay swing and then the grass swing. So everything he did prior to that on hard courts, you could argue is a different Diallo, if you like. That's perhaps the reason why he's minus 136 favourite here, but the stats don't suggest that. He was 2.5 plus 150 with Bet Rivers earlier on, Medjedovic. So again, we're in that sort of situation where the value's probably gone a bit, and I don't trust his fitness in this sort of heat and humidity, but there are a few options here. Medjedovic to win the opening set was plus 112 when I looked earlier. That line might have moved a little bit now. Given that Medjedovic has played the 2 matches here, got 2 matches under his belt, Diallo hasn't even played 1 yet. So that also ties in with my worries about Medjedovic's fitness and stamina. But if you want to bet Diallo, I certainly wouldn't go with the minus 136. I would take him to win it by 2 sets to 1, allowing that stamina element to come into play, and the fact that he hasn't played at all will obviously mean he's a little bit fresher. So 2-1 to him is plus 285 chance with Bet Rivers. I think those are the 2 options I'm kind of toying with on that one.
There's a couple of leans there on the Diallo Medjedovic match, and I've got to give you some times. I never gave you the times, actually. So Mpetshi Perricard against Muller is at 3:10 this afternoon Eastern time. And following that, Diallo Medjedovic is at 4 p.m. Eastern time. So you haven't got really much time to get into this window. Get across to the BetRivers website and get those bets on. If you're enjoying what you hear on this show, remember you can get more content from us on the guys on our Betting Weekly Insider and newsletter. Subscribe for that for free at bettingweeklystudios.com. And this weekend on Friday, delivered into your inbox, will be a US Open preview guide. The best bets from all the handicapping team here, for tennis handicapping team here, on the US Open, with the best bets, the players they want to fade, all the information you need, and it will be only available to subscribers. So subscribe to bettingweeklystudios.com. As well as that, we'll have you covered on all the Premier League matches and the big soccer games across Europe as well. Okay, so moving on to our next match, which is, I think I said 4 o'clock, didn't I? I think it's 4 o'clock. Yeah, it's 4 o'clock Eastern time. It's 4:20. Lorenzo Sonego up against Jaume. Now, Jaume yesterday broke our hearts with his performance against Bellucci. More Bellucci broke our hearts with his performance against Jaume. Yes. Sonego come through a bit of a test, actually, against Dostanic. Didn't play at all well. And the market wants to get with Munar here in this one here. Head-to-head is one and win apiece. They played in 2024 in Cincinnati. Munar won it on a hard court. And in 2023, they met in Umag, where Sonego won on clay. Both of them have been long matches, but not long as in terms of numbers of games. They've both been 3-set matches, but very, very low in the number here. Sonego is plus 110. Jaume is minus 136. The spread is 1.5. Totals are 23.5. Loads of different markets available on this one. But again, this is another little tricky little match to call.
Yeah, this is another one where I think the value's probably gone a little bit now. He opened with BetRivers at minus 108. Did Munar, which I think was maybe just about bettable, but it's a little tricky now at minus 136. I'd potentially wait for in play, but to get maybe a better price on Munar. I think people are betting Munar on the basis of Sonego's kind of weak, kind of tired effort against the college standout Dostanic, who was obviously massively pumped up for that match. He beat Vukic and then beat Vukic comfortably, actually, and then very, very close against Sonego. Final set tiebreak. Sonego had to go there to win it. And he said afterwards, which is probably what everyone's focusing on, he said, I was really tired and tried to put all of my energy on court. I was a little bit lucky, and that's the tennis we played, whatever that means. The tiebreak went my way, and it was just a few points of difference. I want to stay focused on the next round. I'm really tired, and I want to sleep. So a lot of people are basically coming here thinking you're exhausted, and now you've got to play Munar, who will make you play, ball after ball after ball after ball. It's not someone you want to play if you're feeling a little bit fatigued. I mean, I'm not sure why he's that tired. I mean, he did get to the doubles final in Cincinnati, but I guess it was maybe just a quick turnaround from the doubles final to playing here. I mean, you wouldn't have thought the doubles would take that much out of someone as fit as Sonego, but anyway, for whatever reason, he's clearly not energized at the minute. As I said, he arrived late because of the doubles final in Cincinnati. He is the defending champion here, but that doesn't mean that much in Winston-Salem. You get very few guys that defend the title here. I mean, Isner probably did it back in the day, but nobody recently. And if you look at the probably the only relevant head-to-head that there is between them, which was in Cincinnati last year in very quick conditions, it was an overwhelming win on the statistics for Munar, 111-89 on the service points won and return points won totals, and Munar winning 45% on return on a fast court is really, really good. The downside to betting Munar, certainly at minus 136, he's got that terrible record that I talked about yesterday in the week prior to majors. Now, is that going to carry on? Is he now going to think, well, I finally won a match? He probably doesn't even know. He probably doesn't even realise his record's that bad the week before majors. I don't think he watches this show that often, but he might not even realise, but he might do. You'd think he would with his record that bad. Hadn't won a match the week before a major since 2022. Again, we're guessing. Is he now going to think, right, I've had that match now. I'm all right. I'm going to head to New York, or is he thinking, right, finally, this is actually a decent chance for me to win a 250. Win at this main level. We're guessing as to his mindset, but he certainly should have more energy than Sonego, who's clearly supposedly exhausted after Munar had that quick match, which against a woeful, it has to be said, Bellucci. A real Winston-Salem performance that was from Bellucci. So Munar should have the energy. I mean, I can't bet Munar at minus money, minus 136 the week before a major. I think he's very much the most likely winner, but maybe if you get even money or plus money after a certain situation in the first few games, that would probably be the way I'd play this one.
So there is some in-play leans there from Sean, and obviously if you do have a bet with Bet Rivers, you'll be able to live stream these matches, so you'll be able to bet live and watch live with Bet Rivers. Now our final match is the match between Botic van der Zandschulp, big win yesterday against Al Naldi, up against Sebastian Baez, Botic van der Zandschulp. The market loves Botic. He's minus 240. I mean, that's a dangerous play. Yes. But anyway, Sebastian Báez is plus 185. Spread here is 2.5. Total is 22.5. Again, a multitude of different markets available on the Bet Rivers app involving this match. Never played each other before. Sebastian Báez comes into this match with an awful record on a hard court. He did beat Carina Busta, which was only his second hard court win of the year. Really bad hard court form. Botic van der Zandschulp is rolling back I wouldn't say years, but rolling back some kind of form, winning 3 successive matches here for the first time. I can't remember, a long time on the main tour. He did it in the Challenger event last week. He won 3 consecutive matches, but on the main tour, this is classic Botic van der Zandschulp. But is he really minus 240? Not for me.
Yeah, I mean, talking about players I couldn't bet at odds on, Munar obviously is one of them. Van der Zandschulp certainly another one. I made a couple of wrong decisions yesterday, didn't I? I overlooked Van der Zandschulp after kind of suggesting that he was a good bet against Arnaldi. That ended up being a lean. Boo ended up being a lean, and the one that I went for ended up being awful. So that does sometimes happen. I know people, sometimes bet the leans as well. So hopefully a few of you backed Van der Zandschulp yesterday at plus money. Wiser decision than mine. But I mean, this is tricky because Baez is a very hard one to judge because he tends to play a lot better here in Winston-Salem than anywhere else on this planet on hard courts. His record in Winston-Salem is 6 wins, 1 loss, and a service points won and return points won total of 106. And as you would expect, the return of serve for Baez is doing the work. 43% of return points won here. He doesn't possess much of a serve. He is a very return-oriented player, obviously predominantly a clay court player, but winning 43% of return points, that's his game here in Winston-Salem and generally. But if you look at his overall main level record on hard, remember his record here is a 106 total. His overall main level record on hard, 38% win rate and a service points won and return points won total of 96. So his record here is way, way, way better than anywhere else on a hard court. And this is the only main level tournament played on hard courts that he's been as far as the quarterfinals in. So terrible everywhere else on hard, indoor hard, outdoor hard as well. But somehow really, really good here. I'm not entirely sure why. I know it's not particularly quick here, but several of the other hard court tournaments, Indian Wells, places like that, they're not quick either, but got pretty poor records there as well. So very difficult one to judge Baez on the basis that he plays way better here than anywhere else. I mean, for Van der Zandschulp, from his side of things, it's his first serve that's been doing a lot of the work for him in his career at Winston-Salem. He's won 75% of first serve points at this tournament, but only 47% on second serve. So he's very much been leaning on his first serve when he's played here. So he's going to have to serve at a high percentage of first serves in play, Van der Zandschulp, if he's going to win this match against a guy like Baez, whose return is his forte and who wins so many return points at this tournament. So it comes down to whether you take Baez's general hard court form, which is pretty poor, or his form at this tournament, which is really good. So it depends which of those things you see as the bigger factor. I think this is very hard to bet. I certainly couldn't bet Van der Zandschulp at minus 240. That's a definite no for me. I think I would go over 2.5 sets here, plus 132 Bet Rivers. I cannot see Van der Zandschulp just sort of knocking this off in straight sets. It doesn't feel like that's likely to happen given the way he plays, given he's quite up and down, and given that Baez, for whatever reason, loves it here at Winston-Salem, and obviously a former champion. So I'd go over 2.5 sets. It is a tentative lean. Unfortunately, I can't go any more convincing than that with this one, unfortunately. But definitely won't be betting a Botic at -240. Maybe in play if he loses the first set, I'd be interested. But yeah, tough one this.
I suppose the other factor as well, it's the last game on court. It's 7:40. It's a night match. It makes it even colder conditions, slower as well. That would help Baez's cause as well. Obviously, Sean has said there, given his stats here in this tournament, plus 190. There are a few leans there involving the 4 matches for today. Remember that they are today, 3 o'clock Eastern time, 3:10, the first time these matches start. They run through to the evening till around about 7:40 p.m. Obviously, they might be a little bit later if the matches don't go over quickly. But they are today. That's the most important thing here. We haven't got previewing stuff for tomorrow. So, Sean, just give us your official... Well, it's just one official play, isn't it?
Yeah, the official play is the first of the matches that I talked about, which is Alexandre and Muller to beat Mpetshi Perricard. I think he's -103 now. I don't know what price this will be by the time this match starts because it's been bet very heavily. So, yeah, that's the official play here.
Well, hopefully the market has a bit of a bounce back and we can get a bigger price. But Muller is our best bet today at -103. If you followed our shows throughout the year, we're 13.13 units up on the year so far. And that's every single bet that we have had been verified, and all the winners and losers have been put onto the spreadsheet. And that is what you'll be making in the return of 13.13. Hopefully, we can extend to that today and obviously into next week at the US Open. It's the biggest time of the season for us here on Betting Weekly Game Bet Match. And all the action starts on Thursday at 12 o'clock Eastern Time. A live draw. Myself, Tim Dennis is now involved. And also we have Mitch Michaels. We're breaking down the men's and the women's draw as it happens live on YouTube. Make sure you tune in for that. A very special show. That's at 12 o'clock noon. The draw for the US Open will be made on tomorrow. Then Friday, Saturday, we're looking at the first round matches on the men's and the women's singles, as well as the outright market as well. And then throughout the tournament, Sean will be in New York and I'll be following him in when he comes home. And you'll be able to follow our content on app Because We Win. I bought a brand new spanking camera to take some nice shots over there to make sure we got the technology looks really, really good. And hopefully the tips are as good as the camera that we have to do it. We'll have all the gear. No idea. That's probably what I'm reckoning. But anyway, it's that's it for this week. It's all about Flushing Meadow now. We're heading up to New York, and hopefully we can go there with a winner tonight with Muller to win his match as well. Sean, thanks very much for your time this week. We'll speak to you for the US Open, and then you're heading out there, and we'll follow you on socials as well. Have a good rest of your day. Good luck with your bets, and we'll speak to you all again on Thursday, tomorrow, with the US Open draw. It's coming. We're going to cover you here on Betting Weekly Game Bet Match.